Happy holidays, everybody. My name is Old School Nerd. It is that time of year. It's that holiday time. There's Christmas, Hanukkah. It's a bunch of different celebrations. Here's the thing. Every year I do a holiday recipe, and this year I'm doing something special. Doing something special for all of you. Are you ready? Here it is. I'm going to do a Cajun version of a British classic. A UK classic. Are you ready? Cajun shepherd's pie. Is that a thing? I don't know. But if I can pull it off, legend, right? Okay, before we do any further steps, this is going to require you to watch another video. There's a video that I posted the same day as this one, and it's called Cajun Meatballs by Old School Nerd, okay? Now, for my shepherd's pie, I'm going to do what my friend Tori, who's actually British, told me that if you use beef, it's cottage pie, and shepherd's pie is lamb. I don't think it matters because I'm not British, and this isn't a shepherd or a cottage pie. This is a Cajun coon-ass pie. That's what we're gonna call it, okay? Cool, awesome. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're going to go to my meatball video, and it's going to show you how to make a Cajun meatball, a beef and pork meatball. Now, the meatball recipe I'm going to show you can be done with lamb, turkey, I don't care, okay? Don't use fish, don't use seafood, it's not going to work. But lamb, turkey, you could probably do chicken, duck. If you do the duck, follow the pork version because pork and duck have a very fatty consistency. So anyway, the meatball that I make in that one is a half beef, half pork meatball. And it's a Cajun style meatball. So we're going to take our Cajun style meatball and then we're going to construct a combination of my two favorite things in the world. A Cajun meatball stew and a recipe from another country. And this will be shepherd's pie. Now, I have tried shepherd's pie once in Aberdeen, Scotland, while I was visiting. And I will tell you, the lamb was heavy for me. The minced lamb, I wasn't ready for the heavy lamb flavor, but I loved it. But it took me a little bit to get used to it. So, once you have your meatballs done from the previous video, there's two things you need to do. Have your meatballs, and that jus that we make on the bottom, that meatball browning gristle jus gravy substance, you have to have that going. And then we're going to start from there to making Cajun shepherd / cottage pie. Are you ready? You're not, but it's all going to start with me taking the rendered fat from the pork in the meatball and making a roux. Yeah, we literally do that. Here we go. Step by step from having your meatballs ready to making a shepherd's pie, Cajun style. Now, this is not a roux making video. I mean, granted, there are people out there, many YouTube channels show much better ways to make roux. I'm just using this right now as a time to show you that I'm going to make a roux right here. You can literally go to, I don't know, a dozen YouTube channels. It'll tell you how to make a roux, but the keys are deep hot pan, preferably black iron. Pause. Why the hell am I making a roux? Oh, okay. Let me explain it to you. So the reason why I'm making a roux is for meatball stew, Cajun style, it is meatballs in a roux gravy. Now, roux is a French base, okay, where you take flour and you take either oil, fat that's rendered, or butter, and you brown the flour. Now, the darker you brown the flour, the more nutty and rich flavor you have. In a meatball stew, a Cajun meatball stew, we make a roux similar to how we make a gumbo roux, and there are lots of videos on how to do that. Or, if you're really smart, you just buy it in a jar. It comes in a jar. You want to get a dark roux, and you're going to use a little bit of this to add that meatball Cajun stew flavor to your shepherd's pie. Yes, we're using a Cajun meatball and we're adding Cajun roux to the classic recipe. That's really the only thing we're doing, but the video starts with me making a roux using the rendered pork fat from my meatball with flour. So if you were confused by the start of this video, you are not the only person. I made it and I am lost right now. Or some sort of black iron that is ceramic coated. Of course, there's what we refer to as the Magnolite, which is a solid steel pot you've seen me use on many videos. But the key is I just want to keep this at a medium to medium high heat. And I just want to keep this going until I get literally a nutty brown. Now, some of you have asked, Old Schooler, how do you know the difference between your roux? I got this, something my mother gave me. That is a blonde roux. That is a medium roux, which is for etouffees and stuff. This dark brown, that's my gumbo roux. Also the roux that we're using today. We're gonna get it to about that color and then we'll cut it off. And that is for a meatball stew or a gumbo. So this is gonna take a little bit. So I'm gonna just jump ahead till we get to that color and I'll show you what it looks like. But the key is medium to medium high heat. Keep it moving. Don't let it stick, don't let it burn. Now, our roux is almost done. Now, the key to this is you have to try to cool the roux without it burning or popping or exploding. So what I've started is I've started chicken stock in a Dutch oven here, and this chicken stock is almost to boiling. So hot oil, roux, and then I'm going to spoon it from here to here, joining this roux mixture that I made, and I've almost got it dark enough here, to that, and that will give me our stock for what a lot of you know as meatball stew. For those of you who are Cajuns, you know, make a nice roux, take some chicken stock, you bind them together, and we're going to make a deep, rich gravy for what we refer to as a meatball stew. Now, meatball stew is similar to gumbo, but it's reduced down into a gravy to put over rice. So it's similar, but it is a little different. Okay, so we. Okay, I skipped a step. I skipped a step, and there's a very good reason why. We went from me making a roux to the roux and the stock being in a pot, me stirring it. Now, why did I not show you that step? All of my Cajuns know why. But for those who do not know why, this is a very important safety tip for everyone that ever tries to make a roux at home. For all of you who want to learn how to make a dark roux Cajun style, watch some videos like mine. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. But for the rest of you, I gotta be honest with you. Just go online and buy you a jar. Savoirs, Carries, Richards. There's a bunch of different companies that make pre-cooked roux. And the reason why I suggest everyone use that is two reasons. Number one, if you buy the pre-made roux, there's no shame in that because those roux are made exactly the same every single time. So they're consistent. So if you buy one jar of roux and you get the seasoning for whatever you're doing just right, the way you like it, you know that the next time you get roux, it's the same recipe. If you make a roux at home yourself, it's going to be different every single time. So if you're a person that needs consistency in your cooking from your ingredients and you're not willing to just wing it, get the jar. Now, the second reason why I didn't show you that part is I couldn't hold the camera. Every Cajun knows there is no way at all, it's impossible to transfer roux from your roux pan to a stock, combining them in any way where you're taking a super hot roux and cooling it or combining it with one hand while holding a... No. That is super scary, dangerous, and you just don't do it, okay? No one's gonna, if you have a camera person, you know what you're gonna do? Even if you're like ISAAC TOUPS or even Cajun Ninja, any of the channels, any of the chefs that do Cajun cooking online on YouTube, they have a camera person, and even that camera person is way the hell back. It is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So my suggestion to you, I know I made that roux as part of my recipe. I had to be honest about it. But what I would do for all of you is once you make your meatballs, like we did in the previous video, you have your meatballs ready. Remember that deglazed jus you had? Get you a jar of roux, 1 tablespoon, that's it. And dissolve it in the boiling mixture. Now remember, we're gonna start from there, okay? Let's just pretend you're at home, you've made your meatballs, you've drained the fat off, you've deglazed your pan with chicken stock multiple times, you've made that amazing sauce at the bottom. Now that jus is just flowing, it's beautiful. Take your meatballs out, bring that to a boil, add some roux in there from a jar, 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon to your taste. Remember, a little roux goes a long way. And then from there, we're going to start the video. We're going to continue the video from there because that way you have safely gotten to this point. I go nuts when I see all these Cajun cooks that have been cooking Cajun all their lives because they learned from their mom, their grandma, their grandpa, their uncle, their aunt, and they're just throwing all this stuff together and they're not warning people. This next step, if you don't do it right and you're not safe about it and you're not careful, you could really hurt yourself. It's kind of like frying a turkey. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose your house. You could die. It's scary as shit. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I cursed in a Christmas video. My bad. All right, let's get back to the video, back where we were. We've added our roux to our stock, and now I'm breaking it down. I'm keeping it just below boiling. If you make a good roux and you bring it to a hard boil, it's gonna foam up and go over the edge of this pot. It really, really will. So I'm keeping it just below boiling and I'm keeping it moving, keeping it agitated. I want the chicken stock and the roux to make a cohesive, thick, it's almost to a soup-like texture. Now, this would be the start of a gumbo for a lot of us. But instead of putting a bunch of liquid in this and filling it up to about halfway, I'm keeping it pretty low. And I'm gonna let this thing reduce as much as possible to where the thickness will allow me to slowly smother these meatballs, which we made earlier in a previous video. Please check out my how to make Cajun meatballs. That's a great video too. But I'm gonna show you what to do after this. Now, what are we gonna be adding to this as we go along, as I'm melding all this together? Well, we'll be adding our meatballs, as previously indicated. We'll be adding more Cajun Trinity, which is onions, some green onion, celery, and bell pepper, green beans, carrots, of course, and potatoes. Now, I know a lot of you are like, wait a minute, you don't put potatoes in shepherd's pie, you add it on top as a mash or as a scallop. But wait, I have an idea, and I want to share it with you first. So hold off on that. There's a reason, and I'll share it in a few minutes, okay? But trust me on this. Trust me. Yeah, that was literally me warning you not to put the raw vegetables in the mixture. We're gonna saute them first, like we do with all of our Cajun Trinity. I've never added Cajun Trinity to any dish raw. I've always sauteed them with olive oil and Cajun seasoning, and a little salt. I don't like raw vegetables. I think they're too bitter. Once you saute them and season them, they're sweet, they're savory, and then I add them. I think that's a lot of what I'm doing here. And I was just trying to ward everyone off. Like, close that pot, let that keep, you know, simmering down. But, it's... Now, when I say raw vegetables, I love raw broccoli, I love raw carrots, I love stuff like that. But when it comes to Cajun cooking, I've never not sauteed my Cajun Trinity beforehand. There we go. It's getting pretty close. Yeah, we can definitely add that now. Okay, so we'll go, ooh, steamy steam. Back it up, back it up. You're going to burn it up. There you go. That's cooked down. See how that's cooking down nice? Okay, so we're going to add that to there. It's so dang good. And we're going to stir that in. All we're doing now is we have the roux flavor. We're adding our Cajun Trinity that's been sauteed. The jus that we made from the meatballs first, we're adding the meatballs back. Now we're going to let the meatballs absorb all that and start cooking down. We're reducing this as much as possible. Now, the biggest difference between shepherd's pie and what I'm making here is I'm not making a mince. I'm leaving the potatoes whole. I'm leaving the meatballs whole. I'm adding raw potatoes that I'm now going to cook down. Now, I want them raw in there because I want them to absorb something. Now, this is very interesting. We're keeping up with this. Kind of cool. I'm commenting, but maybe I should let myself talk. Ooh. Okay. I think I skipped a step, but we're gonna go with this. Okay. Now, this is where I tell everybody a little quick second here. We've started to cook this down. Now, there's something I want you guys to understand. Have you noticed how I have not seasoned the pot yet? I seasoned my meatballs. Okay. I seasoned my Holy Trinity, but I have not seasoned the sauce of the roux. Okay. I added the potatoes, but I need those potatoes to cook down and absorb whatever salt and seasoning that's in the pot first. There's a reason why. If I was to season this roux, these and everything right now, and then add the potatoes, that's going to reduce the amount of salt and seasoning in the fluid. So the potatoes go in, as they're cooking, they're going to absorb a lot of salt. So if I season everything before I add the potatoes, it's going to change the flavor. So you got to check it after. So we're going to cook these potatoes down. Once they get soft and they change color, then I'm going to slowly season it up and salt it up to taste. Also, if you noticed, the carrots and green beans do not need to be added when I add potatoes. The potatoes are going to take a long time to cook because I'm slow cooking them on a slow boil, not a rolling boil, because it's all being smothered. Those potatoes are going to soften slowly. Then they're going to change color because they're going to absorb not only the salt and the flavors, but they're also going to absorb that color from this brown gravy. And they're going to turn almost as orange as the carrots. By the end of this, you won't be able to tell what's a carrot and what's a potato if I do it right. Let's keep going. So I think we're just going to let this cook. Yep. No, we're not. No. We're not going to put those in there because these aren't cooked yet. We're going to let these potatoes cook. Yeah. See, I'm showing you right here that these potatoes need to cook in. They're still potato color. I need them almost orange. Okay, we got to let these cook down. So we need to give this thing time to cook. Let these potatoes time to get soft. Let them set. Exactly. So this is where I'm wanting to make sure you guys understand. I'm not seasoning anything right now. Yeah, this is the way it needs to be. Okay, now let's take a look. Yeah, the potatoes are starting to get a little bit darker. Yeah, everything is starting to really reduce down. It's really getting thick. Okay, now I'm checking. It's pretty much set. The potatoes are starting to cook. And we have gotten to a point now where the potatoes are beginning to get soft. So now I'm going to start adding salt gradually. I'm going to start adding any extra seasoning. If I think it's not seasoned enough, I'll add it here. But at the same time, I got to be honest with you. I don't want to over-season this. You can always add, but man, getting it out of a roux gravy, getting saltiness out of a roux gravy is almost impossible. So we've seasoned to taste. The potatoes are starting to be really, really soft. Let's add our green beans, our carrots. Let's mix all this up together. I want those green beans and carrots to add that sweetness to this sauce. And we're going to cook this down a little bit more. We're getting thicker. We're getting almost... Now, I'm not making a mince out of this, okay? Not making a mince, okay? I'm keeping this whole pieces. All right, we're going to cover that up. Let it cook down. Yeah, this stuff is so good. Now, I'm going to let this cook down for probably about another 20 minutes to reduce. Okay. All right. Ready to go. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and explain this now because this part is my favorite part. Just when I take this lid off after 20 minutes, everything is so cooked down. It's so thick and rich. It's perfect for this. So let me show you. Now, we have cooked this down. It is 100% ready to go. It's a classic meatball stew, but I talked about making it a shepherd's pie. That's why we added the green beans and potatoes and the carrots to our meatballs. So, I could put wonderful mash mixture in the traditional sense on top of here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come over here, and we're going to do this in 3 different ways. Now, we took our mixture and put it in here, and we put it in here. Now this one, we did the classic preparation. This one. All right, so this is what we did. There's 3 ways to do this. You could put this in a smaller Dutch oven, a smaller pot, like a casserole dish, and put the mixture down in there. Put your potato layer over the top. Could have done that, but I decided not to do that. I took 2 serving small soup cups, put the mixture in 3/4 from the top, filled in one side with mash, Parmesan cheese, a little black pepper on the left. On the right, I made a cheese, butter, and cream rotan, which is a fancy way of saying scallop potatoes in a circular form that you can lay over the top. So yeah, because I love making a rotan. I love making homemade scallop potatoes. So what you do is you just take the scallop, you just take slices of potato thin, you stack them layered around each other like you're stacking a pie crust, and then once you put them in a pan, you set them up with butter, cream, salt, a little black pepper, and you saute them in a pan, and then you bake them in an oven, and then you bring them out, and they're in a round circle around this, and I measured it to be around the size of the top of my my cup, and they're gonna be all stuck together because they're all gooey and melted and brown together. And I just use a spatula. I take them up, lay it on top of my my mix that's inside my cup, and I think it's gonna work out well. Here's the difference. I'm going to share with you guys a little something. This is about to go in the oven. And I set them in the oven for another 20 minutes. I baked them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. And then I did 5 minutes on the broiler to brown that cheese mixture, that Parmesan and stuff on the top. I've never made a shepherd's pie before. And I know one of the keys to making a shepherd's pie is to have enough potato and make sure that potato seals firmly all the way around the cup. Because if you don't, well, those who have made a shepherd's pie already know, but this is my first time. Let me go ahead and show you what happens. Okay, They're going in the oven. Okay, I'm gonna set this up. There we go. All right, now we're gonna take them out. Are you ready? Here they come. Now this is 15 minutes in the oven and then 5 minutes with the broiler. As you can see, it exploded out of the rotan because that's not sealed. And the back edge of that mash didn't seal and it popped out of there like a percolating coffee pot. But we can say for sure it's cooked. It turned out so freaking good. The Cajun meatballs, everything is just so freaking amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you now. I didn't expect it to turn out this good. I didn't expect it. Let me share with you how good this tasted. And something I would probably do different. If you're like me, I love the roux, the deep, rich roux gumbo flavor. But I could feel that a lot of you that love a good shepherd's pie probably don't need all that extra. What I would do, make the Cajun meatballs. Make the jus where you deglaze those meatballs and develop that sauce at the bottom. And then I would fine chop extra green beans and carrots, add them in there. But before I would do that, I would probably use a masher and tear up the meatballs. Because I think the meatballs need to be in a mince. I think that's why shepherd's pie is the way it is. So if I could go back and do it again, I would probably break up those meatballs. Make the meatballs, because making the meatballs is how you get the jus and all that great, amazing flavor for that sauce. But whenever I put the meatballs back, I think I should have tore them up, made them into a mince kind of, and mixed them into that sauce to where there was more consistency. It would be easier to eat, I think. The rotan is a good idea, but if you do a rotan, you have to make sure you have a much deeper layer. Maybe add a small layer of mash, then the rotan on top of the mash. Maybe. Either way, they look great. They tasted great. Yes. Cajun shepherd's pie. And the only thing that makes it Cajun is we make a Cajun meatball or Cajun style of meat mince. Whether you use turkey, lamb, beef, pork, it'll all work out the same. And then if you want to go super Cajun with it, add a teaspoon of roux when you're making your sauce. It'll make it taste like a gumbo shepherd's pie. So yeah, there you go. I know, I just made Cajun shepherd's pie or cottage pie, and it does look good, and it tasted amazing. So I have no idea what I'm going to do next year, though. I might have to make haggis, but then call it boudin. Actually, that might work. Maybe we'll try that next year. I'm going to hell, right? Okay, just checking, because that's what I'm going for. And with that, we'll see you later. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons out there for everything you do. And if you want more content like this, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.